President Trump just finished speaking in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota, just now. It was a really good speech at the GOP annual dinner in Minnesota. So he's going to make a good run there to see if he can win in Minnesota. He's in play. I think he's always been in play, but now he's got a really good chance of winning because of the voter fraud, because of RFK Jr.'s insertion into the 2024 presidential election. I believe things like this, these are things that are all going to help President Trump win in 2024. But I got the new beanie, RFK Jr. 2024 president. He's wanted for president, I believe. Let's continue on. We are going to do a little light reading possibly, but let's go and surf around and see what is going on in the world of Kennedy and Trump. This is one of the things for Kennedy. He's got a new video out here. Let's go ahead. He's got maybe one or two, maybe three new ones since I've played these. So let me go ahead and play one of these.
What do you do about the size and scope of the executive branch? It's completely unwieldy. You have enormous numbers of people who are supposed experts in their particular fields. How do you clean that out?
You do it one agency at a time. And I've sued almost all these agencies. I've sued NIH, CDC, FDA, EPA. I've sued USDA multiple times. You know, they didn't start out corrupted. They started out idealistic. They started out models for the rest of the world. They started out serving the public interest. And they didn't always do that perfectly because bureaucracies make mistakes. But you can restore those cultures. You stop the profiteering. FDA gets almost 50% of its budget from the pharmaceutical companies. Of course, that's not going to work. NIH scientists should not be able to collect royalties. We have to stop the revolving doors that put corporate capture on steroids. In these agencies, there are individuals at high levels who have corrupted them. And I'm not just talking about the agencies that I've sued, but also the CIA. I had dinner with Mike Pompeo about 4 months ago, and he said to me, and my one biggest regret in life is that I didn't clean up the CIA when I had a chance where I was running it. And he said, virtually the entire upper echelon of that agency are made up of individuals who do not believe in the democratic institutions of the United States of America. The upper echelons are controlled by the military-industrial complex and people who would do its bidding. When we sued Monsanto, we got discovery documents that showed that the head of the pesticide division at EPA for over a decade was taking his orders from the highest officials at Monsanto to make sure no study got done that would look at the links between glyphosate and cancer. I can tell you who those individuals are at CDC. Colleen Boyle, Frank DeStefano. I know the names because I've dealt with them. I know who has to be moved. President Trump wanted to do this. President Trump came in saying, I'm going to drain the swamp. But he didn't know how to do it. You have individuals who are capable of committing a civil disobedience that will turn off the lights somewhere, that will stop the sewage treatment plant, will flood the streets, and that will embarrass the president. So they tiptoe around these agencies and they never do anything about it because they don't know how to do it. But I know how. I know exactly what to do.
I believe it. And I hope everyone else does too. I think if anyone does know how to do it, it is RFK Jr. And I hope that he will when he gets in office, whether it's 2024 or 2028. I'm hoping by that time when he gets in office that he will do it. He's got the game plan. He's got the confidence. There's no doubt. He knows exactly what to do. Here's an interesting one from News Nation. They're posting, wow, they have 3 new videos about Kennedy. We should go take a look at these. 3 of them. Let's see, one from 12 hours ago. RFK running out of time to appear on the ballots. Really? Come on, guys. He's really running out of time? I don't know. I don't know how much of that I can take. Can RFK Jr. be a November spoiler? You've heard that before. That was about 2 hours ago. And RFK Jr. races to make the ballot in all 50 states. All right, that one seems a little more fair.
With 24 hours of cordless runtime,
Give that one a chance. Skip. Yep. Unbelievable.
To whether the two major party candidates will see a potential third party spoiler on the ballot. President Biden and former President Trump are currently the only two set to debate, but independent candidate Robert Kennedy Jr. says he will meet the threshold to get on the stage as well. But he must also focus on getting on the ballot in all 50 states. His campaign says they can, but so far, only a handful are confirmed. So let's bring in News Nation's Kelly Meyer at the White House with more, Kelly, on his plan to make it onto every single ballot.
Yeah, and he's pushing ahead with that plan to get on every ballot ahead of November's election. The campaign saying that they've secured enough dollars to get on the ballot in all 50 states and in Washington, D.C. So RFK Jr. and his campaign have been crisscrossing the country, collecting signatures to get on the ballot, most recently gaining access in New Jersey. So the campaign's message is that voters, quote, deserve a better alternative to the two-party system. So here's where RFK Jr. is on the map so far. He's officially on the ticket in 7 states, according to his campaign. That's Utah, Michigan, California, Delaware, Oklahoma, Hawaii, and Texas. And they collected enough signatures for ballot access in 8 other states: New Hampshire, Nevada, North Carolina, Idaho, Nebraska, Iowa, Ohio, and now in New Jersey. So RFK Jr. claims he will meet the criteria for the first presidential debate before the June 20th deadline, though the host of the first debate says that only former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden have met that criteria. But Trump recently said if RFK Jr. makes the stage, he'll welcome it. Take a listen.
I would have no problem if he got whatever the threshold is, but he's very low and he seems to be heading in the other direction, in the wrong direction.
I gotta find that clip.
So Washington is still buzzing around word of the fast approaching first debate. The two rivals going back and forth on social media this week, accepting 2 presidential debates and 1 VP debate, though we still have yet to hear who former President Trump will pick as his running mate. And this will be the first time the two will be on a stage since that 2020 debate you see there. Now, I just spoke with a senior advisor to President Joe Biden, asking him what the president has been saying about RFK Jr. potentially getting on that debate stage. He tells me that this is going to be a debate, quote, between the 2 viable candidates for president.
All right. Yeah, a lot certainly in that statement there. Kelly, thank you.
Found something here. This is good. I had no idea this even existed. Actually glad I watched that. An exclusive interview with Scripps News on Thursday. Former President Donald Trump said he would have no. Okay. Gotta find Scripps News. I have no idea.
Good morning, President Trump. Great to talk with you again. Good morning, President Trump. Great to talk with you again. Let's get right to it. If RFK Jr. qualifies to be on that stage, will you still participate?
Well, I have no problem with him. I think he's really not doing well in the polls at all. His numbers have gone down a lot lately, but I would have no problem if he got whatever the threshold is.
What are the chances you will announce your vice president pick while in Milwaukee at the convention?
That's probably a pretty good chance, I would say. I don't say anything's 100%, but you're getting pretty close.
That's interesting. I gotta find this. I gotta find where he says this. Scripps News. I wonder if it's. I want the full clip. Scripps News. All right, let's see. This is from. It was supposed to be from the other day. So let's see what he says. Here we go. Woo-hoo.
So you think you know Wix? Do you really? First up, we've got.
I thought it was a good conversation. We were able to talk about some important issues that impact voters and could impact the outcome of this election. Look, it was a 5-minute interview, so you don't get to cover a lot of ground, but there are some important topics coming up, obviously around the economy and jobs and where we are when it comes to early voting, and also where he stands with this upcoming debate. Right now, we know it's a one-on-one debate between him and President Biden. But the question is, does RFK Jr. end up on that debate stage? So we talked about a lot of things. So let's hear what the former president told me today.
So good morning, President Trump. Great to talk with you again. Let's get right to it. We know the economy and jobs will be big issues in this election, but I want to get your response to something President Biden said in Wisconsin last week. He was in Racine County promoting a $3.3 billion investment by Microsoft at that same location where you promoted a $10 billion investment by Foxconn in 2018. President Biden said, quote, "They dug a hole with those golden shovels and then they fell into it." He added, quote, "We made promises and we keep promises." As you know, Foxconn did not deliver on its original promise. So does that reflect on your record and how that would impact voters when they compare these two high-profile projects?
Well, Foxconn spent a lot of money. The government didn't put up very much at all. And we have other people, including them, continuing to look. And, you know, what I brought in with the ships and all of the other economic development projects that I brought in were incredible. You got one of the biggest shipping contracts or ship contracts, and that was the building. And you people are doing a fantastic job on it. But we brought a lot of economic development. Plus, we did the USMCA, Mexico, Canada, and got rid of the worst trade deal ever and just made the best trade deal ever. So Wisconsin is really in love with what we've done, and that's why we're leading in the polls with Wisconsin.
President Trump, let me ask you about the Republican Party chair in Wisconsin has embraced early voting for 2024. Even RNC co-chair Laura Trump has said, you have to play the hand you're dealt with, and that means as soon as you can vote, go vote. Will you personally encourage and endorse early voting in 2024?
Well, I do. I just encourage voting, period. But certainly early voting is something that is happening. I want to get back to paper ballots, same-day voting, and a voter ID. That's what we really should have, because the elections are not secure, and Wisconsin was a good case of that. So I want to get back to the same-day ballot. One day you vote. Everybody votes in one day. All the ballots are together. Paper, you know, paper is very sophisticated. They do watermark paper, and it's very hard to cheat.
Yeah, and Wisconsin does have voter ID. The Republican National Convention in Milwaukee is 2 months away. You dominated the primaries and wrapped up the nomination quickly. But as you know, in states like Wisconsin, significant number of voters back Nikki Haley, 76,000 in Wisconsin, which can be a big difference, as you know, in a battleground state that can be decided by fewer than 25,000 votes. So my question to you is, what's your message to those Haley supporters, especially women voters? Will you try to bring them home by Election Day?
Well, she got very few voters relatively. I mean, I got almost, I guess, close to 90%. She got very few voters. And those voters are all coming to me. And you may have a lot of Democrats in there because they have a very tricky little system. But those voters are coming to me. We just did a poll where we're leading Biden by a lot in Wisconsin. They're doing, when I say a lot, we're leading him by 2 or 3 points. We have one where we're leading him by 5 points. And I guess that's considered quite a bit. But we want to win the state. We've been really good to the state. It's a great state. And we want to bring it back home. We want to bring back jobs and bring back industry to Wisconsin.
There are now 2 debates between you and President Biden. But if RFK Jr. qualifies to be on that stage, will you still participate?
Well, I have no problem with him. I think he's really not doing well in the polls at all. His numbers have gone down a lot lately, but I would have no problem if he got whatever the threshold is. But he's very low, and he seems to be heading in the other direction, in the wrong direction. I would have no problem with it, though. If he qualified, I would have no problem.
One final question for you. What are the chances you will announce your vice president pick while in Milwaukee at the convention?
That's probably a pretty good chance, I would say. I don't say anything's 100%, but you're getting pretty close. I'll be doing it in Milwaukee. We're going to have a great time. It's a beautiful arena. It's a beautiful space. And we're spending a lot of money, and we're bringing it to the state. And I hope the people, when they vote, are going to remember that, because we're bringing a lot of jobs and a lot of economic development. We're bringing our convention, and we had plenty of options. We're bringing the convention to Milwaukee. It really is an important state for us. Wisconsin has to be won by us. We want to win it. If we win Wisconsin, I think we win the whole thing. And we create a border, a real border, because right now we have an open border with millions of people coming in illegally into our country. And they come from jails, and they come from mental institutions, and they're terrorists, many, many, many. And it's got to stop. They're destroying our country in so many ways. And inflation, too. We'll bring inflation way down. We're going to get energy costs in half. We'll be cutting your energy costs in half, maybe even less than that. Inflation's going to come tumbling down.
President Trump, we appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you soon in Milwaukee.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let me see what day that was. So this was put out on the 16th yesterday. Okay, and I know. I think he mentions it in the beginning when this interview happened.
I thought it was a good conversation. We were able to talk about some important issues that impact voters and could impact the outcome of this election. Look, it was a 5-minute interview, so you don't get to cover a lot of ground, but there are some important topics coming up, obviously around the economy and jobs.
Must have been May 16th, morning of May 16th, or May 15th. Either way, that was good. And again, this threshold thing, whereas if Kennedy meets the threshold, I think he's met the threshold. I think that's clear. And but I guess people can disagree with that. 15% is what he needs to get to. If he stays at 15%, if he's polling at 15%, seems like he's polling at 15%. He has a possible 201 electoral college votes. If that doesn't meet the threshold, I don't know what does. And we also know that Kennedy has already challenged Trump to a debate when they're both there at the Libertarian Convention on May 24th and May 25th. These will be two very important days. Trump's speech will be on RSBN, so make sure that you tune into RSBN. I will be tuning in there to listen to Trump's speech to see if he mentions Kennedy in the speech. His Minnesota speech that Donald Trump just gave a couple minutes ago, he mentioned Ted Kennedy. He brought up the Ted Kennedy story once again, where he was friends with Ted Kennedy, and way back in the day, he asked Ted Kennedy, who's the smartest senator at that time. This must have been back in the 80s or 90s. And then he asked, who is the dumbest senator? And the dumbest, according to Senator Ted Kennedy, the dumbest in the Senate was Joe Biden. This is back in the 80s, I believe. Could be 90s, but I believe it was 80s. So you have that. You have RFK Jr., who will be speaking on May 24th, and then the following day, May 25th, Donald J. Trump will be speaking at the same Libertarian National Convention. There's no reason why they can't have some type of a town hall or a debate with both of them. The problem is, if Trump does that, then going forward, he's going to have to let Kennedy on the stage after that, I think. So that could be why it's like, wait a minute. So you met him, you guys had this debate at the Libertarian Convention in May, but you don't believe that RFK Jr. is worth being on the stage in June. So that will be very interesting to see how all of that plays out. That was a great interview. I definitely will go and clip some of that for the book. More stuff for the book. Thank you. I appreciate it because I need it. So looking at here, DonaldJTrump.com in the news section, we're getting back to President Trump and more debates. Before I read that one, here's a memorandum. I think that's the one that I want to read. Yeah, this is the memorandum from May 15th here to the Joe Biden campaign from Donald Trump's team. And I'll just read this a little bit. Today is a good day for American voters. Now that Joe Biden has finally accepted President Trump's debate challenge. President Trump and our campaign have been requesting this for months with a constant message. Anytime, anywhere, any place. President Trump has already accepted the CNN debate invitation for June 27th. This is the same one that Kennedy says he meets the threshold for that. So we'll see what happens. He also has accepted your proposal for a debate in September. But we believe there should be more than just 2 opportunities for the American people to hear more from the candidates themselves. With the soaring inflation of Bidenomics, costing America's hardworking families at the grocery store and at the gas pump, with our border being totally overrun with chaos at home, chaos across the world, chaos on our college campuses. We should have one debate per month. Therefore, we propose a debate in June, a debate in July, a debate in August, a debate in September, and in addition to the vice presidential debate. Additional dates will allow voters to have maximum exposure to the records and future visions of each candidate. We believe the American people deserve more than what Biden administration has to offer. Very good. Every month, and if they could even do something in May, then I guess, but that probably will not happen. Here's the latest from today. Campaign statement on crooked Joe Biden's refusal to participate in Telemundo NBC debate. I just read this a few minutes ago. Here's what they say. It is shameful that crooked Joe Biden has turned his back on Hispanics and refused a debate for the Hispanic community. Biden has been terrible for Hispanics. Bidenomics is crushing our communities. Rising prices are decimating our families. And Biden's open border prioritizes illegal immigrants over American citizens. The Telemundo NBC debate would be widely watched by Hispanic voters, but Biden's handlers are petrified to allow him to defend his disastrous record. Crooked Joe Biden is too cobarde to address the Hispanic community and answer for his failures on the debate stage. That's definitely some Spanish mumbo jumbo, but I have no idea what cobarde means, and I know I'm butchering it, and hopefully on purpose. It is no surprise crooked Joe Biden is losing Hispanics in poll after poll to President Donald J. Trump, who will rebuild our economy, lower prices, lower taxes, secure our borders, and uplift families. President Trump is honored to accept this invitation to speak directly to our great Hispanic community with or without crooked Joe Biden. Another opportunity that we could say, okay, well, if Biden doesn't want to show up, guess what? There's someone else who will show up, and his name is RFK Jr., and he is running for the president of the United States in 2024. And he is gaining momentum. He's not losing steam. RFK Jr. is gaining momentum, and he is getting on more ballots each time, each week, each month, whatever you want to say. The access is growing, and it's just going to continue to grow as we get closer to November. And everything looks good for RFK Jr. That's all I know. That's all I want to say about that. So ending this short show here, going to end it with something from Kennedy 24. Because as he has said here, let's see, where's a good one? There's one that I saw about his family that I couldn't find anywhere else. So I wanted to play that if possible. If I can find the one that talks about his family. Jesse Waters is always good. He says, the path to recovery and the robust health Americans enjoyed a couple generations ago does not lie in more medicine. It is in food, non-toxic environment, and lifestyle. That's not something you'll hear in the Green New Deal, by the way. Green New Deal drama isn't talking about that. So when Kennedy gets mixed into this Green New Deal stuff, that is not what is going on. Here it is. 59 minutes would be a great way to end this here. I don't think there's anything else, anything new that I wanted to cover, but this is good.
Are you praying for your family? Are you like,
Yeah,
have
of
you
course,
had, I
of
mean,
course.
I don't mean that literally, but as they are doing something that might be hurtful for a split second and then,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
And have you had conversations with them since?
Yes, I have. You know, they've sent me notes saying we made sure not to criticize you. They, in our earlier iterations, some of them said a couple of things about me. But this time they said,
in our family, we love Bobby and we like him.
Several of them said to me that they had used those moments with President Biden to ask him to provide me Secret Service protection. You know, so I'm happy with that. I think that maybe he'll reconsider his
The
decision.
fact that
That's
the fact that it's even a decision and it's gotten to this point is ridiculous, which to an outsider only says, okay, you're only doing that if you are threatened by that person. Otherwise, why wouldn't you do what is traditionally done for a presidential candidate?
Wow, that's good.
Are you?
I don't know if that is on. I couldn't find that on RFK Jr.'s channel, but that's good. That's powerful. I'm glad that his family is finally sticking up for him, and I'm glad that there were some that actually used that opportunity with Joe Biden to say, "Hey, we need to get my brother or my family member some Secret Service protection." So maybe as the family realizes Kennedy is the real deal, then maybe they will start to jump ship a little bit, or at least recognize that he needs Secret Service protection and he deserves it, if anybody does in this country, aside from President Trump, who already has it just because he's a former president. I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to cover. Could go take a little stroll to Kennedy24.com and see if there's anything new. The campaign coverage, I don't see anything new there. The press, I don't see anything new beyond New Jersey. So I think that is it. I want to say thank you all. God bless you all. And please remember that Jesus Christ loves you. Until next time, have a great night and a great weekend.